Defeating fear at the point when we think about the original champion, we will very likely make certain to consider somebody that is valiant, bold and apparently brave. This is the sort of individual that will stroll into the line of fire. That will revolt against bad form, that will take on adversaries that are a lot more noteworthy than them. In our own lives, there are no genuine winged serpents to kill. Or maybe, they take on numerous different structures, regardless of whether they be ailment, whether they be obligation, or whether they be the battle of going to the rec center each day. The most effective method to use: dread setting. In the event that you're a fanatic of perusing self-improvement writing, at that point chances are that eventually you will have recorded your objectives. This is something that pretty much every master appears to exhort and that many cases can help you to achieve your fantasies by better characterizing and envisioning them. Yet, in Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek, this guidance is flipped completely around to some degree. While Tim doesn't really disapprove of objective setting per state, he additionally suggests doing basically the inverse by dread setting. What's more, he asserts it can do significantly more than objective setting with regards to understanding your points and getting more from life. What is fear setting? The overall thought behind dread setting is that you're characterizing the apprehensions that are keeping you down so you can confront them. Much of the time Tim proposes that in the wake of doing this you'll see that your apprehensions are entirely unwarranted and consequently will push ahead and past them. Regularly our feelings of dread are of irreversible, negative results, yet really these are more uncommon than you might suspect. So what you do is to record the most horrible potential results for doing whatever it is you need to do, and afterward record all the manners in which you'd adapt to the circumstance or conceivably turn around it. An example: changing career. We should accept changing vocation for instance. This is something that many individuals need to do, however feel kept down by dread of the likely repercussions. By characterizing those apprehensions, however, you can limit their power. So in the event that you plan to record the absolute worst results for evolving vocations, it may well look something like this. I may give up positions work just to neglect to secure another position. I may be not able to pay the home loan and along these lines be compelled to move home. This could disturb my accomplice such a lot of they leave me. I may land the position I think I need and discover I disdain it more than my last work. I may apply to different positions just to get dismissed by everybody and wind up harming my conscience. These are altogether genuine concerns. However, now in the event that you consider all the manners in which you can oversee hazard and decrease the effects of those negative results, you'll discover your apprehensions aren't all that established. I can search for occupations without leaving my present place of employment to evade the danger of joblessness. Nobody needs to know. This will likewise be significantly less wild according to my accomplice. Alternatively, I could address my manager about my issues and check whether there are different situations inside my association. If I do wind up unemployed, I could generally address my old supervisor about landing my position back, work in a store while I search for other work, work for dad, live off of investment funds for 2 or 3 months, move back home with the guardians. If my accomplice leaves me for attempting to become more joyful, then I need to rethink that relationship. If I don't care for the work I find next, then I will feel more certain about occupation chasing again in future. If I battle to go anyplace, I can chip away at my meeting procedure, improve my CV, look for profession direction. Which will all be helpful encounters at any rate. As you can see at that point, the exceptionally most exceedingly awful situation is likely not as awful as it appears. It might simply mean living out of reserve funds for some time or making a little stride in reverse to take 2 advances. In like manner, as there are such countless approaches to limit the danger of things turning out badly, it's entirely impossible you'll wind up in those positions in any case. In the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim likewise offers one other bit of guidance that I feel is pertinent here. Don't request consent, request absolution. Take that disposition and blueprint your apprehensions, and you're on target to a more joyful rendition of yourself, just as to achieving significantly more. Apathy and the warrior mindset. Tim Ferriss' thoughts may appear to be exceptional, however, he says himself that he is motivated by old way of thinking and explicitly, by the thoughts of the antiquated Stoics. Aloofness is a school of reasoning that dates right back to the 3rd century BC. Its standards were established and drilled by authentic characters, for example, Epictetus, Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Furthermore, from numerous points of view, Stoicism was an early way to deal with a hero mentality. It was about mental toughness and about figuring out how to expect and afterward live with things turning out badly. Indeed, large numbers of us depict somebody who is bold and valiant as being aloof. All in all, what correctly does it include? The power of pessimism. In the event that we tell somebody that we don't think things will work out as we trusted, at that point they'll frequently reveal to us that we should be more hopeful. There's even a melody that advises us to highlight the positive and dispense with the negative. The overall agreement is clear: being positive is something to be thankful for, and being something besides certain is unsatisfactory. Be that as it may, is this actually the most ideal route for us to move toward our issues? Or then again, is it maybe very harming to continually be blinded by hopefulness? Does it leave us defenseless against disillusionment and possibly effectively found napping? Is required life to be continually daylight and rainbows the exact inverse of a fighter outlook? Wouldn't a champion acknowledge and grasp the way that life will be hard, and afterward harden themselves up to manage it? That is the view held by Stoics in any event, and when you dig into the way of thinking a bit, you may find that they really make an excellent case for negativity. The central ideas of Stoicism. The overall substance of emotionlessness isn't to attempt to shut out pessimism. Also, imagine that awful things don't occur, but instead to grasp it and even to utilize it as a device. Expectation, as per the Stoics, is the foe, definitely in light of the fact that it implies we're not ready for things turning out badly and we're probably going to be frustrated. All things being equal, emotionlessness advocates the thought of dirty authenticity, of perceiving the negative parts of life and tolerating that a ton of what happens is out of our control and is most likely not going to be charming. Utilizing Stoicism in your own life. This probably won't seem like an especially accommodating position to take on things, yet then that is on the grounds that the majority of us are profoundly prepared into just tolerating positive perspectives. This is simply the overall pride of innumerable assistance books and even Hollywood movies. Think ambitiously and you can get what you need. Truth be told, it's basically the main thrust behind private enterprise. In any case, the Stoics adopt the contrary strategy. They plan for the tempest. They figure out how to appreciate life in any event, when things aren't turning out well for them, and they perceive difficulty as challenge and a chance for development. When you experience life feeling qualified for everything turning out well for you, how might you expect it to be cheerful? Furthermore, how might you be relied upon to confront difficulties that are really troublesome? So how does dismissing this unending energy help? How would you essentially apply apathy in your own life? Negative visualization. One proposal from apathy is something many refer to as negative representation, the possibility that you picture your apprehensions as opposed to your objectives. Rather than imagining things going impeccably to design, all things considered, picture things to say the least. Envision how your arrangements can fall flat and picture what life would resemble if the entirety of your most noticeably terrible apprehensions worked out. What this does is to initially assist you with getting ready for those most pessimistic scenario situations. When you understand what your feelings of dread really resemble, you would then be able to consider how you would adapt in that situation. Frequently, you'll see that this most dire outcome imaginable isn't as awful as you from the outset figured it would be. Also, in different cases, you'll see that you can really discover approaches to adapt to that circumstance. This eliminates fears that could somehow keep you down and implies that you're not aimlessly overlooking what might actually turn out badly. On the off chance that this sounds natural, at that point that is on the grounds that it's correctly the very idea that assisted Tim Ferriss with concocting his fear-setting method. Be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. In one of his letters to Lucilius, Seneca stated, "Put aside a specific number of days, during which you will be content with the scantiest and least expensive admission, with coarse and unpleasant dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I dreaded?'" The overall thought here is that you ought imagine your most dire outcome imaginable, yet additionally have a go at living it. That may mean going through 7 days living off of least compensation, it may even mean dozing unpleasant. In one or the other case, this shows you not just that you can deal with your most noticeably terrible feelings of dread, and subsequently have less motivation to be apprehensive, yet additionally that you really needn't bother with material belongings to be cheerful. This is really something that is essential to develop. It takes extraordinary control to leave behind your assets and things, however the outcome is independence from dread and furthermore from numerous actual limitations. On the off chance that you are burdened by assets and effects, at that point you won't have the option to move home uninhibitedly. You will invest a ton of energy cleaning and taking care of things that don't help you further your objectives. What's more, eventually, you will have considerably more to fear. The more you own, the more you need to lose. This makes a feeling of dread. In this way, attempt to clean up and live a more focused and moderate life. At any rate, figure out how to confine yourself from actual belongings and recollect that they are for sure, just things. They are a necessary chore, and on the off chance that you should forfeit them, so be it. Selling your widescreen TV or turning down a vacation to take care of obligation or pay for your kids' educational cost, those are fighter-like decisions. Wear ugly clothes. Another exemplary emotionless move is to wear monstrous garments to show yourself not to be embarrassed. Individuals may gaze at you, yet this will essentially instruct you that it doesn't make a difference at all others' opinion, just your opinion. This is a significant part of the hero mentality. Caring what others think makes you helpless against peer pressure and to vanity. At times, to do what should be done, you should be eager to forfeit your standing. Similarly, as in our model about conceding that you broke the container. Anticipate the worst. Stoics contend that we revile when we're irate and that this resentment is our own our own idiocy. Consider the last time you swore with outrage. Odds are that it was not on the grounds that it downpoured or on the grounds that you discovered you were owing debtors. More probable, it was on the grounds that you dropped something on your toe, or on the grounds that you broke your number one belonging. The fact is that the resentment comes from the astonishment, not the mistake. You don't swear when it downpours since you realize that downpour is a chance. Hence, in the event that you are furious, this at that point recommends that you didn't expect whatever happened to you, and this is apparently your own deficiency. On the off chance that you acknowledge that awful things occur, and in the event that you acknowledge that occasionally things won't go to design, at that point you will have no should be furious, on the grounds that you will have represented it and arranged intellectually for it. Presently, when your accomplice undermines you, or when a specialist co-op doesn't convey a decent assistance, you will consider it being basically a piece of life, much the same as the downpour. Control your reaction. Aloofness implies submitting to the way that you have meager to no power over the real world. And yet, it likewise implies taking comfort in the information that these external elements can't hurt you, just your response can. You can't handle what befalls you, however you can handle what you think about that occasion and your own translation of it. Being intellectually ready for things that could turn out badly is one genuine illustration of this in real life. In like manner, however, you may likewise just choose not to allow things to influence you, to make a stride back from them and to manage the results as opposed to whipping against things that you can't change. This is something we'll be tending to all the more intently in impending parts, care and the capacity to choose how you need to respond to the things going on around you. Yet, just by recalling that intense things occur and you must arrangement with them, you should discover you can. I really believe that Rocky Balboa is one of the incredible current Stoics, and one of his later axioms sums up the thoughts of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius impeccably. The world ain't all daylight and rainbows. It's an extremely mean and awful spot. Also, I don't mind how intense you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there forever, on the off chance that you let it. You, me or no one, is going to hit as hard as life. Yet, ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit, and continue to push ahead, the amount you can take, and continue to push ahead. That is the manner by which winning is finished. Here's a statement from fiction, a book I composed quite a long while prior. This line was spoken by a crazy character in the story and was never intended to convey a lot of weight. However, I found that as I considered everything, it was entirely obvious. Those that dread passing, dread life. The facts demonstrate that in the event that you carry on with life in dread of death, at that point you will be forever wary. You won't face challenges and you won't carry on with life to its fullest thus. All in all, what is the arrangement? Do we put passing, crazy? No, it is smarter to deal with it and in unemotional design, basically acknowledge it as a reality. Furthermore, this mirrors the way that the samurai would move toward their lives as well. Here is a statement from Edo samurai Daito Jiyuzen, which can be found in the book Code of the Samurai. One who is a samurai must before everything remember continually, the way that he needs to bite the dust. On the off chance that he is consistently aware of this, he will have the option to live as per the ways of unwaveringness and dutiful obligation, will maintain a strategic distance from bunches of indecencies and misfortunes, keep himself liberated from infection and disaster and also appreciate a long life. He will likewise be a fine character with numerous excellent characteristics. For presence as temporary as the dew of night, and the hoarfrost of morning, and especially questionable as the life of the fighter. Recall your objectives and your vision. Work toward them. Adhere to your code. Attempt to have an effect and spotlight on what you give up. That may mean securing your family in any event, when it implies putting yourself in danger, or it may mean taking risks to pursue a greater objective. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share the video with your friends and subscribe to our channel.